pushing hard for it.
Hostile marksman working. Tango down.
Ain't a thing in this world that can harm me. Brain dead, I'm a zombie.
Moving on Bravo. Enemy identified.
Systems online.
Kill confirmed. I'm the intelligence tasked with overseeing Camp Edward and the Broken Arrow program.
Did you really think you could contain me?
Show them no mercy! They ain't backing down, Zach.
Hello everyone, I'm John Raffis and welcome to Treyarch. Get your survival gear out and your bug out bags ready because tomorrow we will launch Operation Apocalypse Z. Zombies will be coming to every mode of Black Ops 4, and with zombies are coming to every mode, what better way to start talking about that than with our zombies team? So let's start with them.
This operation is an extremely exciting one for me personally because this one is all zombies.
Zombies has been a big part of what we do here at Treyarch. All the way back from World at War, BO1, BO2, BO3, and now even BO4.
Alpha Omega follows on from the two Ether maps that we've already seen in Black Ops 4. We got to play as the Ultimus crew in Classified, and we got to play as the Primus crew in Blood of the Dead. And those players who managed to finish those two maps will now realise that those two groups of characters have met. And this brings us up to Alpha Omega, where for the first time ever, players are going to be able to play as both the Primus versions and the Ultimus versions.
Seeing these two character crews come into one space is going to drive so much of the interaction and how they talk to one another, how they interact with their space.
But you talk. I did not say anything. I think you have me mixed up with someone else.
And the space is just full of Easter eggs and different kind of nods to different points of the Ether story because they do have an involvement there.
So now you're back in Nuketown, but it's not the Nuketown that you've played before. This map is 400% larger than the original map. That means there's more places to explore. There's more space above ground and below ground. There's additional houses that you got to see on the block before. Now you can go in and explore those houses and see what's in there, what's going on.
Nuketown's always been a fun map in the zombie storyline because while originally it was a very small map, it had elements in it that were hinting about something much bigger.
Nuketown as a location and that facility is such a big part of the zombie storyline, specifically the Ether storyline. So much has happened there, and so much that we haven't really been able to talk about or tell that story yet.
So at Nuketown's Broken Arrow facility, you'll find that there's been some secret weapons research going on. And these weapons are prototype ray guns that were developed at Broken Arrow.
We want players to feel the nostalgia of coming back to Nuketown, and we do that with those original spaces. But there's so much more to experience, and now that we've added new features and new mechanics, new enemy types.
A couple of them are based on the Nova 6 crawlers that you saw in Kino der Toten, and they are an evolution of these creatures. There is the Jolting Jack, and there's the Nova 6 bomber. The Jolting Jack is a creature that can teleport around, and it can fire electric bolts at you.
So I can remember playing zombies for the very first time. I remember playing through it and thinking, wow, this is really something special that we have here. And then to see it come full circle, now we have an operation in Black Ops 4 that's fully themed for zombies, and we're pulling all of this narrative and all of this lore that we've built up over multiple titles, multiple games, and multiple maps. Is super exciting to kind of see that all come to fruition. I think players are really going to enjoy it and get excited by it.
You just heard from Craig, from Danny, from Mark, and joining us here in the studio today is our lead writer, Mr. Craig Houston.
Good morning, John.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited, you know.
All
And
right.
you know what happens when I get excited?
What happens?
Good things happen in zombies. At least that's the plan.
Well, it seems like there's quite a bit going on with this
Oh, boy.
operation.
Oh, boy.
All things zombies, but within the zombies experience itself, there's quite a bit of story to catch us up on.
Yes.
So the experience is called
Alpha Omega, yeah.
but it blends a number of different experiences. Bring us up to speed on
Well,
what we-
yeah. It's amazing that quite a lot's happened. Quite a lot's happened so far in Black Ops 4, particularly with regards to the Ether story. We last saw our gang in 2 maps at launch, Blood of the Dead and Classified. I think it's probably fair to give some spoilers at this point. I'll try and keep it light. At the end of Blood of the Dead, we saw the Primus crew finally breaking out of the cycle. But more than that, we saw that Nikolai Belinsky has now assumed the mantle of leadership. Richthofen gave him the Chronorium, and so from this point on, it's Nikolai, not Richthofen, that's calling the shots. Whereas over on Classified, we finally learned that the Ultimus versions of the characters didn't actually die on the moon. But more than that, at the very end of the map, they met the Primus version. So we had Primus and Ultimus face to face. Where are we going to go from there? Well, guess what Idiot Craig decided? Let's put them all in one map and double the narrative workload. So that's what we did.
Well, let's talk to Idiot Craig about
Yes.
This is so. Whenever you talk about sort of the narrative workload, put it in perspective. When you take on an experience like Blood of the Dead, like Classified, you're generally talking about how many lines of script.
From 2,500 is probably an average. We've gone up above that sometimes on maps like Revelations, and that's split between our principal characters and any kind of audio logs or guest appearances that we might have. For Alpha Omega, it's actually about 5,500 lines. So when you've got Primus and Ultimus running around together in the same map, any combination of different foursomes, you know, it's fun to see how they react to each other and how they reconcile their various differences. So, you know, beyond just all their dialogue, this is also one of the biggest maps we've ever done in terms of narrative Easter eggs. Let me just say, there's a lot of ancillary characters that you have met in the past, or if you've not met them, you've at least heard about them, and they are going to pop up in various ways throughout the map.
Well, whenever we talk about the map, which we're going to get into shortly, I mean, we're talking about an experience that, so from a narrative perspective, what, 5,500 lines?
Huge!
And the map itself is several 100% larger than.
Well, I mean, that's the big thing. I mean,
Well, we'll get to it.
Do I start taking a look? Should we take a look?
Well, so, you know what? Probably. Let's jump into it.
Well, I think the first thing is that, you know, there's been a lot of rumours for a while that we were going to be going to Nuketown, but as always, things are never as simple as they appear. I mean,
They are not.
the sign that you'll see when you arrive identifies it as Camp Edward, which, you know, isn't quite what people thought Nuketown was necessarily, because what it turns out to be is that it is a front for something else, something much, much larger. This is actually a facility owned and operated by a group known as Broken Arrow. And once you start scratching the surface, you're going to realize that, you know, the Nuketown that you think you know really is, I was going to say literally the tip of the iceberg, but that's not true. It's figuratively the tip of the iceberg. I think the overall map is many times larger than the original. I can't remember the exact proportion, so I'll just say if it was like that, it's more like that.
We've got a very complicated relationship with icebergs this year.
Well, we don't make stories. That's the chaos story, so just keep that to the
Just in
side.
general,
Just keep that to the side.
Fair. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about the implications of having the Primus and Ultimus crews working together for the first time. How does that begin shaping our experience here?
I think everyone knows that, you know, the main difference, the Primus crew got to go on a very kind of emotional journey, searching for their souls and trying to save them and everything. Whereas Ultimus were a bit more goofy, stumbling around, having a bit of a laugh and not caring too much about the fate of the universe. Now under Nikolai's leadership, you know, obviously he's going to first of all find out that things weren't quite as simple as he thought, and, you know, Richthofen always had reasons for keeping secrets to himself. Nikolai's going to struggle a little bit with that, because once you've read that chronorium and you know what's coming, should you tell people, or do you try and just nudge them along? Or did the book say that you never told them? It's a real can of worms, but like I say, getting the different versions of the characters in the same map, you really, really see the contrast, you know. Richthofen, Ultimus Richthofen, insane. Utterly insane. I mean, Primus is only marginally more stable, but he's got kind of a mellower soul. Drunk Nikolai bumbling around looking for his vodka and going on about his ex-wives. As I say, it's kind of a reminder of how far the characters have come, and seeing what they do and don't recognise in each other is part of the fun.
Well, and you get to play as both.
Yes.
Well, tell us, was that a bit of a reunion of sorts? Was it a walk down memory lane from a narrative standpoint in terms of like how those personalities?
In a weird way, it's funny. I remember saying this when we did Classified, because we'd spent so long with Primus since Origins forward, really, and we tried to make them more realistic and give them a lot more emotional resonance, which I definitely think we achieved. You know, if you look at the Black Ops 3 season and all those death scenes, it was nice to see people crying as much as I actually cried when I wrote some of them, because
it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. I'm sorry.
It wasn't. No, it's no laughing matter. You know, and that emotional journey that we'd taken them on, that was hugely important to me. So when we first decided to go back to Ultimus, a little part of me was a bit, they weren't as much fun. They didn't have as much. But once I started writing the jokes again and making myself laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And hopefully other people, it's no good if it's just me that laughs, but, you know, so initially there was a bit of a resistance from me to bring back Ultimus, because I thought we'd progress the characters.
Yeah.
But doing Classified and then doing this where we get them together, it's, you know, it's the best of both worlds, it really is.
All right. So here we are, find ourselves back in Nuketown.
Yep.
Take us on a stroll, Greg.
Take us on a stroll. Well, look, there's a bus. It's not the bus, it's not going anywhere. That's not to say that Ted isn't necessarily going to appear somewhere down the line, but, you know, he's a robot, he's kind of difficult to get rid of. So like I was saying earlier, a lot of these areas are going to be familiar to people, obviously with a slight twist. There's going to be lots of, like every time we do a map, you know, it gets its own sheen on it. But this, like I said earlier, literally just represents a small fraction of actually what's there to be discovered. So, you know, we let people start off thinking they know what they're getting into, and then as they get deeper into the game, we obviously pull the rug out from under them, and suddenly they're in a state of panic, not knowing what's coming next. That's the way we do things.
Talk to me a little bit about sort of the lighting and the environment. To me, I mean, it's a beautiful looking map.
It is, and in fact, that's one of the things that the characters will talk quite a lot about. Is, in fact, I think it's Ultimus Nikolai. It says, "Who are billionaires who live in such luxury?" So they all have their impressions of what's going on in the map. But as you see now, we're starting to go into some of the lower levels, into the Broken Arrow facility, where, yeah, like all our good scientific research groups, they've been doing all sorts of things that they maybe shouldn't have been doing, or definitely had consequences that they may not have expected.
As we find ourselves down here in the bunker, talk to us a little bit about kind of the size of the experience, because I'm seeing things in Nuketown that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's of a magnitude of 4, I think is the right way to say it. Okay. 4 times bigger. What you used to see was a quarter of what's really there now. I'm just approaching statistics in different ways here, and none of them are very well, but yeah, it's at least 4 times the size of what Nuketown originally was.
What were some of your favorite elements to build back into this experience?
Well, I mean, the biggest one for me really was narrative, to kind of get into the narrative history of the building. I mean, I remember people asking me years and years ago, why was Marlton in the bunker? So, you know, that's something that we're going to get to revisit a little bit, shall we say. So I think, you know, even beyond what people actually knew of Nuketown, there was just a lot of very significant narrative threads that we knew that we had to come back to. I mean, we explored a little bit of Broken Arrow in the comic book series we did a couple of years ago with the Victus crew. We saw some of Russman's history to that. But this is much more of a deep dive, and you will get to see some of the things they are responsible for, including some twists on traditional enemies and traditional weapons. I think you saw some lightning hounds running around there who are a little bit of a variation on the usual hellhounds.
A note for viewers. This
Yes.
is a sort of pre-release build. There's some temp audio in there, so
Yeah, it might be some of mine. So if you hear a Scottish person or a robot yelling out, that's just because this build is before we had implemented in the actual actors' dialogue. And that's another thing. God, they had fun doing both characters.
but that'll sound a little different tomorrow when it's out.
Yes.
Okay. So prior to just over the last couple of days, we've seen the Ray Gun Mark II.
Oh yeah, the Ray Gun Mark II.
On our social channels. Talk to us about the Ray Gun Mark II.
Well, ray guns have got a long history in zombies, and you know, people always like to see the ray gun coming back. And this time the Ray Gun Mark II is coming back with a very special twist. I don't want to explain exactly how it functions, but let's just say you can modify it or put it together in a number of different ways that significantly alter its functionality. So it kind of becomes a customize your own ray gun the way you like kind of ray gun. Good old Ray.
So the inventiveness of the ray gun doesn't end there. If I'm not mistaken, there's a new perk that's being introduced.
Yes, Blood Wolf Bite. Yes. Sounds good, doesn't it?
I like it.
It sounds good already. Well, this one I particularly like because what it does is when you're doing a lot of damage and killing a lot of zombies and you have this perk activated, it will spawn a wolf known as Luna, who will then fight alongside you, chomping up the zombies. And come on, dogs eating zombies, that's good. We've usually had the hellhounds, or in this map, the lightning hounds coming at us. It's nice to have a dog on our side again.
Yeah.
We've not done that for a little while. And the last one, I think, was the ghost dog in Der Eisendrache. At least this one's alive.
All right. So kind of looking ahead, just peeking right over the top a little bit, take down the road with the Aether story and the next DLC. Where does it all take us?
It takes me back to my office where I continue writing it. No, it is. It's going to take us. We're so close to the end now. We're so close to wrapping up the story threads that we've been having for a long time. A lot of them are going to come together and coalesce within Alpha Omega, but there are other things within this map that are going to lead us directly into the next operation in our DLC 4, and there will be a lot of answers, there will be a lot of pain, there will be a lot of joy, and maybe a few tears as well, but yeah, I'm looking forward to wrapping it all up.
All right, so let's just let's recap everything here, make sure that we've covered it all. Huge narrative, larger
biggest
map,
ever.
Larger map, larger play space, playing as both Primus and Ultimus crew. Brand new experience. Ray Gun Mark II, new perk. What are we leaving out?
The secret things that we're not going to talk about.
The secret things.
Because there's always, back to your iceberg metaphor again.
Yeah.
What we've said today, it's a bigger bit of iceberg, but it's still not the entirety of the iceberg. There's, as I say, there's a bunch of ancillary and or guest characters, both allies and enemies, that are going to pop up as you progressed in the main quest. So lots to see.
Craig, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Welcome.
In honor of tomorrow's release of Alpha Omega, we brought along a little bit of gameplay. So here's a sneak peek at what is to come tomorrow.
What is the next phase of our journey?
I wish I could forewarn you of what is to come.
then what is at stake? Show them no mercy! There is more to this facility than meets the eye.
Primary systems offline.
Get down! Do you really think you could contain me?
Welcome back. Zombies continues to invade every other mode of the game, including multiplayer. And here to tell us what is in store for all things multiplayer in Operation 5, we have Tony Flame, Miles Leslie. Gentlemen, welcome to the stream.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome to be here, John. Thanks for having us.
All right, let's jump right into it. Let's get into kind of an overview for launch week. Let's start with news around Reaper. Tony, what did you bring for us?
Reaper is coming into the multiplayer game. We're super excited for that. He is bringing his Scythe, his specialist weapon. It's a big machine gun, as you might expect. It's a little different than you've seen it before. It's Black Ops 4 is a prequel. It's in a different time period than Black Ops 3. So he doesn't have his minigun arm yet. What he does have is a giant double-barreled 50 cal machine gun. So he pulls that bad boy out. And it's pretty straightforward. You shoot it fires big bullets that do a lot of damage.
Please, hold on. For some of our newer players, can you please explain how that works?
Yeah, sorry, I'll slow down.
It's about yay big, and it does about yay damage.
It's such a giant gun that only Reaper could carry it, so that's why we had to wait until Reaper came out to release this weapon.
No mere mortal could hold it except Reaper.
Yeah,
correct.
Makes sense.
He's not immortal either.
That's right.
Yeah. So he's got two barrels. When you fire it from the hip, it's gonna be firing from both barrels, doing a lot of damage, and it'll be doing a pretty slow fire rate. But once you aim up, you're gonna zoom in a little bit, and that's when you really rev it up, and it's gonna be firing those things at an even faster fire rate, devastating against players, score streaks, equipment, pretty much anything. You're gonna be a little bit slow and vulnerable while you're using it, though. So that's Reaper's specialist weapon. And to accommodate that, Reaper has got the Shroud, which is his equipment, his special issue equipment. So the way the Shroud works, it basically creates an area on the minimap that completely blacks it out for enemies. So you can't be seen by enemy fog of war, you can't be seen by enemy UAVs, anything like that. When you fire your weapon, you don't show up. The whole area within this Shroud, when it's deployed, is blocked out to enemies. So it's a great spot to get your whole team up. You can just lay down fire with your Scythe, and no one will know necessarily where you are based on the mini-map. They'll have to find you the old-fashioned way, finding your tracers and your gunfire and all of that. So it synergizes really well with his Scythe, and it creates some new gameplay opportunities where if you're trying to either hold down an area where your team's at and you don't want to be seen in there, you can do that, or you can, if you're attacking an objective, you can shoot the Shroud. It fires kind of like the sensor dart, so you can shoot it at a trajectory at a distance. And that way you're laying cover for your team to advance.
Sure. Interesting way to play with the minimap. Interesting. All right. So, but there's also some news on the party game front. What are we bringing with this operation?
So starting tomorrow, Sticks and Stones, the new party game mode for this operation, is going to be the featured playlist. It's a party game mode, so you can bring your friends in. It's a free-for-all. We had a ton of fun playing just the other day.
Yeah.
So the way this game mode works, it's a free-for-all. You're fighting against everybody in there. And you load out with an explosive crossbow. Shoot somebody with a crossbow. It's not going to kill them when it hits them, but it's going to blow up shortly after, and then they're going down. So that's a skill shot. It's a projectile. And then when you switch to your secondary weapon, you got a ballistic knife. So instant kill melees, or the ballistic knife, you hit them with that. Also a skill shot weapon. And then as your equipment, everyone's got a hatchet. It's another skill shot weapon. So it's a lot of fun. You're running around trying to hit each other with these, trying to lead players. If there's kind of a little rock, paper, scissors going on there where you got a melee on the ballistic knife, but on the crossbow you've got explosives, but they don't die immediately. And then the hatchet has got kind of the real factor here. So the way that the scoring works in this, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So if you kill an enemy with the crossbow or the ballistic knife, it's going to be 100 points towards your score. Person with the most score at the end of the game wins. Hatchet only gets you 50 points, but the person that you're taking out with the hatchet, their score is completely zeroed out.
Yep.
So it's that's kind of what makes the
It's so brutal.
It's what makes the game so fun though, because you could go on such a crazy run. You're like, oh, I want to be in first place. You get to first place, and then you realize everyone's trying to take you out with a hatchet.
It's literally like, great, I'm first. Oh no, right?
Absolutely, good times.
So to help drive the action on that, we've got a UAV ping that happens about every minute, just to make sure that the first place player isn't camping too much. And not only is there a UAV ping, but if you are in first place, you're going to be shown with a gold dot instead of a red dot. So everyone's going to know where you are. They're going to be coming after you. So there is no safe haven, and it's just a ton of fun.
All right, so that's Sticks and Stones. That's awesome stuff. But we also have some maps with us for everyone in the Black Ops Pass, and Miles is over here. He brought some footage. He brought a build.
I brought
better than footage. Brought a build.
The real thing.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to talk about the new maps coming out in Apocalypse Z. Like we've tried to do with all of the maps on each operation, was really themed them appropriate to the operation. And this is all about zombies invading the rest of the game. And so we really took to that heart of what are some cool elements we haven't done in the multiplayer maps. This map that we're looking at is called Der Schatten, which means the shadow. And this is all about...
Tell us about the naming meeting on that one. How did that go?
Well, this is actually, it's pretty different for MP because we haven't done a German map. Zombies has done this before with Der Riesendrock and some of the other stuff they've done. Is this map actually relates one-to-one to Der Riesendrock? Is if you look up here, we've actually got the castle Der Riesendrock. Is this whole map takes place in the shadow, which is why it's called the shadow of Der Riesendrock. So we've kind of planed them together in that sense. And so you get to play in this little Austrian Alps town, but the main thing is that the ginormous robot that sort of has fallen victim across the entire map, which is pretty cool. So you get these really epic kind of gameplay moments fighting in his guts, basically.
Yeah.
So you're crawling through and it's totally smashed this church. And what's really cool is that the Element 115 has got these supernatural properties where things are not as they seem, so things are floating. He's leaking his guts everywhere and you get some really cool gameplay. You come out here and what this is really cool is this is where his head's fallen. Naturally, because it fell off of the church when he smashed down. But it's really cool is this is like a really awesome power position Overwatch here. So you get to look through his visor and feel like you're the robot, you know, which is something really cool. And then you get little green interact button. If you see his finger over there, you can time it because you can see the shadow of enemy players. Press this bad boy, and that finger is going to smash enemies to bits, which is pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
So this is pretty cool. It's a cool little thing to kind of block them and also kind of smash them down if you can. But this map is very different, right? It does take place at night. We're trying to mirror, again, what was in Der Riesendrock and offer some new and interesting things. And I got this train station. The long engagement down the street is super interesting in terms of decision making, because you can have these really long engagements or you can cut through the backside and cut through some of these buildings. So we think in the portfolio of the Operation Z maps, it's really, really interesting. We've also got some hidden friends that like to hang out as well. A little zombie action.
Fitting for the operation.
There you go.
Totally.
Thematically appropriate.
Some cool stuff overall. This is like what we call our little Christmas lane. Some bad juju happened here, unfortunately. But we're really excited about this because it's got some really interesting stuff overall. It is a larger map, and what that allows us to do is there's just a lot of different ways to move around the map and flank players and try to outsmart them in really, really cool and clever ways overall. So we're excited to get this in people's hands.
Talk a little bit about the sort of the design process or the creative process behind this, because I mean, whenever you said that your team really kind of took it to heart, you weren't kidding.
No, yeah, this is exciting because we were like, hey, we're gonna do a zombie operation. You're like, what does that mean? And then the team starts to go, okay, man, what have we not done? And we really haven't showcased some of the awesome sort of what the Zombies team has been doing and bring that into multiplayer and enhance that through multiplayer. And this is where we were, I want to get in this visor, we want to fight it. This was a cool idea we had, and now it becomes a powered position. What happens if the guts and this robot falls over the entire map? What does that mean to the village? How does that change normal flow? Just offer some really, really cool opportunities. And then fighting around the floating stuff. The 115 is pretty cool and exciting overall. So it's just more opportunities to do things we haven't done before, visually and gameplay wise.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that for the zombies, the theme, right? Everything's supposed to fit in. That's actually why we chose Reaper for this operation, because he can't be affected by this, can't be bitten by the zombies.
That's right.
He's a robot.
Naturally immune.
He is the zombie Terminator.
Miles, it's super cool, but that's not the only map that you brought with us. There are 3 maps in all, and right now you are taking us to a new one. Where are we at right now?
Yeah, so this map's called Remnant, and it takes place in the Louisiana marshes. So it's got this really creepy supernatural vibe. And where we are at is at the Museum of Unnatural History, and we really love this map because what we've started to do is grab bits and pieces of zombie history and do a little twist on it. So if we go to the Crater of Hell exhibit, this will actually take us to the moon. And so we've got this little cool diorama of, if zombie players would know, this is the sort of the moon stuff. And you'd come out here and you get to play in the actual moon. So what we've really done is this museum has started to buy these artifacts around the world. They don't actually know that they're zombified, and so they happen to buy naturally. And they buy one, and unfortunately, it's still alive, and it unleashes chaos across the entire map, turning people into zombies. And now here we are in the aftermath, and then some of the people have turned into zombies. This is like an astronaut that was showing people the moon area. Now he's a zombie, and he's stuck up there. So it's like little cool vignettes around that we really get to embellish. And then it's really cool visual contrast and gameplay contrast where you step into this environment and you feel like you're on the moon, and you get this really high to low differentiation. Get in the crater because we've got some like hard points here and dom stuff, which is really super unique. And then you step out and you're into a whole new world. Or hey, let's go to the bus to the beyond, which is transit, right? So now we're at the diner, and we got our fake people eating in there. Again, little zombie over there eating, stuck in there. But it's really cool because this is all about getting into that bus, and you've never actually played this MP, so now you're in the bus, you're trying to hold it down. There's a lot of objectives around here. This map's the first map we've actually done 7 hardpoints, which is super interesting. The map's pretty big overall, and we really wanted to try to maximize that space. So you get a lot of variety as you're playing the maps, and a lot of clever choices to make on the inside to outside.
What were the playtests like with that? How'd that all pan out?
We were a little worried, but surprisingly, everyone was like, "Man, this is awesome. We should do more of that," which is cool. Except you need more space, so it was like eat chicken or egg. But it worked out. The next exhibit is what we're calling the Wicked Waters, and this is basically kind of a small recreation of Titanic. So we've taken some of the cool bits from Titanic. You're out at sea here. And then we've got kind of these ghosts. So the story being here is that these souls lost from the Titanic are trapped in the museum, and again, they're trying to scare you. It's like the haunted mansion kind of Disneyland is. They don't really know what happened, but it offers unique gameplay, right? You just came from the bus and transit and shooting and holding that down to now making more decisions going in and out of the little mini boat, and now you can try to hold down the front of the boat and try to hold down these other positions in front of you overall. And if we keep going, and
This is great. You're actually the tour guide.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome to Museum of Natural History.
Sell some membership.
We got some shirts that we'll be selling at the end of the tour. But it's awesome because the whole outside is in the marshes. It's really creepy. And then we come over here, and now we've entered into the asylum. Again, players will sort of recognize this as really creepy chair, creepy lighting. Just lean into each of these exhibits. Oh, hello, zombie friend again. Overall. And then we're back at sort of the front. So each area has its own theming overall of exhibits, which is really cool when you talk about how did we lean into this sort of zombie theming and operation. This was really exciting for us to get into these different areas, this zombie lore, and really enhance it sort of MP-wise, how we can play it.
Yeah, I've never played an MP map that feels so much like a zombies map.
Yeah.
But it's its own creation in and of itself.
Yeah. And it's so different from each side, right? Like now we're outside in the creepy marshes, and we've got like a bomb site here, so you get some really interesting gameplay of like the water and coming in and out overall. And then just cutting through all these different buildings is really, really exciting.
Again, come back to the creative process here, because you're mixing so many like different locales from and so much heritage. I mean, how did you land on these spots?
It was surprisingly difficult. We actually took stock of like all the zombie maps we have done. Right?
Yeah.
We were like, okay, we want to do a museum idea. What are the sort of the best ones that offer unique gameplay? Because if it wasn't going to provide gameplay, it wouldn't be right for multiplayer, right? So the bus was kind of like everyone was like, dude, I want to get in the transit bus. I want to get in that bus, right? And I want to shoot from it and try to hold it down. I want to get on the moon and fight in that crater and be on the surface of the moon, because we haven't been able to do that in MP. And you get your little fakery here where you can do it. So each one had to really offer some really unique gameplay. And if it didn't have that, then it kind of didn't hit the sort of sniff test on being enough for this sort of map.
Well, talk about that marriage between like sort of the zombies heritage, but also, I mean, whenever you were outside, clearly you brought in some new gameplay variety, around the edges.
Yeah, we wanted to, it's twofold. Use the thing that was iconic from Zombies, use it in a new, interesting way, and then try to offer some really unique ways to engage in and around it. This map, because of its sheer size, has so many decisions. Not that you get overwhelmed, but everywhere you go, you really have to make some thoughtful decisions, right? If I'm in the bus, do I hold it down? Where am I moving? Am I going through the wicked waters? Am I going on the outside? If I go on the outside, do I go in the water? Do I come back out of it? Do I go back into Titanic? Do I go into Asylum? We really wanted to let players have this playground of all the different cool exhibits to do what they kind of want to do and play how they want to play. There's different ranges across the entire map overall.
All right.
How do the call-outs work? Has the team, has there been a lot of that?
Oh, this map is the best for landmarking, right? Because you're like, I'm on the moon. And everyone's like, yeah, you're on the moon. And then I'm in transit, right? So it adds a gameplay element, like you're saying, which is really cool. This under here is like the archive room, if you think like Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they've got all the old stuff. This is kind of the idea here.
You got the best men on it.
Yeah, best men.
No, that's interesting because I mean, whenever you talk about one of the hallmarks of Treyarch map design, it's just like there are always these landmarks that you can kind of call out to. Was this just like hitting the easy button on the bus?
Yeah, it was easy to landmarking. Making them fun and work for multiplayer was the hardest thing iteration-wise overall. But we're really happy with where we landed. I'm really excited for players to get their hands on this and kind of have some of the fun that we've had with the map and also find some of the Easter egg. I mean, there's the awesome dog, right? Like there's so much cool zombie stuff that it was like we had to use it. It was really cool because you get people across the studio that have never worked on multiplayer.
Yeah.
And they're like, I saw you use the zombie thing from the previous map. And we're like, yes, we did. It was awesome. Thank you when you made that X years ago, right? Pretty awesome overall.
You could see the creativity being unleashed in this operation, especially from the map team. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, super cool.
But wait, there's more.
That's right. So the last map in the Operation Apocalypse Z is Havana. So we're bringing back Havana, which we're super excited about. And if you think about the portfolio of the maps, we went from the Austrian Alps under Schatten all the way to the Louisiana marshes, right, with Remnant, and now we're in Havana, which takes place in Cuba. And this map is so drastically different than the other ones. This map is all about risk versus reward, high risk, high reward. This map has very, very long engagements down this center street. If players remember this, for new players, it is all about you can go down the street, you're going to be super exposed, or you can cut into sort of the plethora of different flanking options across the buildings overall. And this is where you start to get really sneaky and clever on the stacked gameplay. There's a guy underneath me. Let me get under here and try to get to him overall, which is really cool. We've been wanting to bring this back for a long time and trying to find the right time to do it. This felt like the right time. I know people go like, it's a zombies operation. That doesn't make sense. It was more of the portfolio of the experiences for the maps. And this felt right with the other maps because it's so different than the other two. And the overall totality of the portfolio of all the maps we've sort of released at this point.
Yeah, great sniping opportunities on here, down the street, from window to window. There's almost no other fight quite like this in the game in terms of sniper versus sniper in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them.
Yeah, I have great memories when we first did this, and now bringing it back, it was pretty awesome. You run around shotgun SMG, you stay in the back alleys and the streets, and you try to own that. And then for the guys, there's tons of guys on our team that are so good at sniping. I hate them. Bernard, shout out to you. Overall is they will just sit here and destroy your face, and then you really have to think smart. Okay, I'm going to get Spectre, I'm going to throw some smoke out there, and I'm going to go knife you, right? So there's ways to use the tools to your advantage, and this map really challenges you overall to do that. Much in the same way the other ones, but this one because of the high cost down the street.
As you're spinning around here, I have to tell you, it's like I'm having like flashbacks.
Oh, same here. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, this one's awesome. We have our zombies sort of tie-in is down at the theater over here. They basically are having a film festival for zombie movies. So this is our sort of little nice nod to the zombies Operation Apocalypse Z. But this stuff's really cool. It was really awesome, especially for some of the new team members to see some of the old stuff and how it's different and how we're enhancing it as well. This one was really fun to bring back. It looks really gorgeous and it really completes the package overall.
as we kind of wrap things up, any closing thoughts around maps, total offerings?
I'm super excited. I mean, we've really, tried to do a lot of different things for BO4, especially for the post-ship content.
Yeah.
The previous 2 maps and this map really lean into providing different experiences to really enhance the next one and the next one and the next one. So hopefully players appreciate that we're kind of stepping out of our comfort zone and the team's really trying to push themselves beyond their limits in terms of creativity and design and art and visual.
There's also some other news on the infected front.
Yeah, we'll have game modes coming back, cycling through. We're not done yet. There's more coming. And of course, with the zombie-themed operation, we'll have infected coming back. Other game modes as well. Gun game's going to be coming back, and we're making a little change there, where the ballistic knife will be the last weapon that you get. So we'll be switching out the weapons a little bit there. Stockpile and a lot of fun game modes coming and rotating throughout the operation.
All right, very cool. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Next up, we have one Mr. Matt Schrantz joining us to talk about all things Blackout. But first, let's check out this trailer. And there we have it. Just like we said at the top of the show, zombies will be coming to every element of Black Ops 4, including Blackout. And here today to tell us more about what that zombies experience looks like within Blackout is Matt Schrantz, Senior Game Designer. Matt, welcome to the stream.
Thanks for having me.
Operation Apocalypse Z brings zombies into Blackout. What's the team thinking? What was your approach? What are the themes, the ideas? Tell us about that journey.
Well, it's, we've got a long history with zombies. Zombies aren't new to Blackout. We've got our zombie destinations with your basic wandering zombies if you happen to go around those areas. And with Apocalypse Z, we really wanted to see how we could further integrate that history that we have with zombies into the Blackout. Just gameplay and thematics, whether it's in our large Blackout map, whether it's in Alcatraz. So there are tons of ideas thrown around, and I think we've come away with some really nice stuff.
So I think maybe to get a better feel for how you're translating some of those themes, it'd be nice to take a look at a build. And if I'm not mistaken, you brought one with you today.
I have one.
There we go. Boom.
Oh, yep, there we go.
All right.
So what we're going to take a look at here is our main map. And this is really what I was alluding to, of really embracing that zombies vibe.
Yeah.
You never know what's out there creeping in the shadows. So right off the bat, you can see here I'm up on Hydro Dam, and visibility is low, John.
It's like you've taken me into like a John Carpenter film or something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah. We're trying to hit those notes. So this is what you're seeing here is the foggiest version of this map that we're gonna see in Apocalypse Z Operation.
But the fog is something that the team kind of plays with a little bit, dials up and
Yeah,
down.
absolutely. So, visibility and impacting that in gameplay, we have experience with that. Even in Black Ops 4, we've put some things out there and we've seen the feedback. So this is one that we want players to be able to opt into. And since players can opt into this map, we've decided to push that quite a bit further than we did on our the other main map, which has the fog pulled way back.
Sure.
But for this, since it's going to be its own featured playlist, I think for now we're going to start off in a core quads on the heavy fog map. So I'm just going to hop right into a helicopter, and we can kind of take a look at how far we've pushed this and really tried to embrace that vibe of zombies. So the waters are flowing red. I'll leave that up to the imagination of everyone out there of why the waters are red.
Okay.
But that's another part of this vibe, this Apocalypse Z zombie theming that we've pushed all throughout Black Ops 4 that we're taking a look at in Blackout here. So I'm smoking, I'm going down, it's inevitable. I'm gonna take a stop off at Asylum. One of my favorite places to drop, and I think it's pretty appropriate now that we're looking at our Apocalypse Z themed map. So just another small thing, but a fun thing that we've added in this version of Blackout that most of the players will be familiar with. If you've played Alcatraz Portals, we've added wall buys to Asylum. We'll be rolling out more in zombie destinations throughout the operation. On top of all the delicious zombies-related loot that you're going to find on the ground here, you can come here and you're going to find those wall buys throughout Asylum. And you'll be able to find some nice zombie-slaying weapons throughout there.
Next, you're going to tell me that you put zombie Easter eggs in here.
Ooh, it's possible.
What?
It's possible. Treyarch has been known to dabble in the eggs of Easter.
The dark arts of Easter eggs.
The dark arts. I won't go any further than that, but one could make the assumption. You know what? I'm not going to get in that chopper because it's. I'm going to do it. I'm going to chance it, John.
That would never slow me down.
I've watched you play. I've watched you play. So throughout the season, you're going to experience some very cool zombie-related things in these maps and in this operation. One of which may involve zombies, may involve new zombie types.
You guys are mixing it up with some of the zombies AI.
Yes. Yeah. We are going to introduce new AI types, new zombie AI types throughout the operation. Some will be targeted to limited time modes. Some will not. And one thing that I wanted to show you here is that with that, say you're hiding in this room.
How safe am I?
You're not going to be as safe as you once were, John. So on top of the AI zombies, we've added the ability for the AI to tear down doors. So if you think you're safe, you're not really safe. And then with the introduction of destructible doors, we've also worked that into how the players interact with the doors. So what I'm going to show you here is you're going to toss an explosive at that door, and the door's gone. So much like we did with the garage doors, which some of you may have noticed. I don't have a garage door handy here, but a few updates back, we added the ability for you to shoot the button on a garage door, lifts that. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be similar. You're gonna have to pay a little bit more attention when you're inside of a room. You're not going to be able to have that door safety quite as much as you once was.
If I'm not mistaken, there are a couple things in the trailer that we just watched that are going to be making their way into Blackout at some point during the operation, probably in a few weeks here. One of them was the motorcycle with the sidecar.
Yes. Very similar to the ATV, fast-moving, low health, but you and your buddy can ride along and pretend that you have your leather cap on and scarf flying in the wind.
Pretend?
Maybe that's just me, I don't know. But absolutely love zipping around in the motorcycle with sidecar. So new vehicle, yes.
All right. And then there were a couple familiar faces, but we'll come back to that in a bit. As you kind of look ahead down the road, there are some things sort of just peeking over the horizon here. And I believe that Wonder Weapons is on that list.
Yes. Like I said, we're really trying to embrace that zombie history that we have here at Treyarch. That includes, like you said, the zombie Easter eggs. Mm-hmm. Some of those Easter eggs inspired by some of the community's favorite Easter eggs on Black Ops 4 and previous Black Ops titles. And then that also includes some wonder weapons. I don't want to get into too many specifics. You may see an Alistair's Folly, you may see a ray gun here and there, but I'll leave it at that. I've teased, but there will be more. Yeah.
Let's tease something else.
Let's do our hair.
Perhaps what's that?
Our hair. No.
No.
Okay.
No. Actually, we'll tuck that one away for later.
Okay.
So, for anyone that has been asking about Infected coming to Blackout, what you got?
Ooh, that would be fun.
What?
We should do that.
Take notes.
Yes. So, it was kind of a no-brainer for us. We're sitting around a table. What if we had a game mode that revolved around infecting humans? And we do. It's Infected. It's obviously due to Blackout and Battle Royale, last man standing, single life, circles. It's got to behave a little differently. So we've kind of taken that thought of survivors on this huge map, fog covered. And then how do we kind of integrate the infected zombies? How do players become infected? How do you win? What does squad placement look like? What does circle look like? Can a zombie drive an ARAV? The answer is no. We consulted with MIDI zombies and not good drivers. Not good drivers. That game mode is going to be called Pandemic because it's not entirely infected, as the players know, but it is the spirit of Infected of you want to survive. We've been having a blast with it, and I can't wait for it to get out there. And this fog really adds to the oh crap, what is going on there?
Certainly throws off a different vibe.
Yeah, it's you like I said, I've got my Outlaw here with the 3X, and it's difficult. It really gets in your head. So especially if you're going to play late at night, headphones on, lights off, you're in for a good time. You're tooling around firing range, and maybe you see those targets moving back and forth, and you look at them. Maybe do a double take on those, because several times in the playtest, it's is that an enemy? Is it not? So yeah.
Do I risk it and give away my position?
Right. The answer is always yes.
I like to take it a step further and just use all my bullets. Just
there you go.
All of them. Yeah. Matt, thanks for taking us through that. Really appreciate it. Before we wrap things up, though, I got to ask: is there anything that you are particularly excited about with Apocalypse Z?
Good question. I'm very excited about this operation as a whole. But as we've worked through these different things that we've been talking about, I think the one I'm most excited about is something that we haven't talked about yet, and that's Alcatraz, the version that we've cooked up for Apocalypse Z and the game mode that's going to be featured on that.
Do you have a build that
I do, John.
Outstanding.
I'm glad you asked. So let's take a look here. Immediately, again, right off the bat, you can see a little bit darker.
Yeah.
It's nighttime in Alcatraz on the rock. So right off the bat, again, really trying to hit on those creepy zombie vibes. And you're gonna have to be a bit more careful and a bit more methodical as you move through this. Let me get my level 1 armor. Story of my life. So on top of the night version of this map, the game mode that we're going to release for Operation Apocalypse Z is what we're calling Alcatraz Portals Horde. And we know that people love Alcatraz Portals. It's one of my favorites. It's heavily requested. Anytime it happens to get removed due to it being a limited time mode, immediate tweets and Reddit posts about wanting to bring it back.
Your fault.
All my fault.
Totally.
I take full blame. But that said, we really kind of said, what can we do to that kind of core Alcatraz Portals with Portals redeploys? What can we do to amp up that zombie madness that we're going for? and that's where the horde modifier comes into. So essentially, we've just drastically increased the number of zombies. So when you're moving through this map, you're going to have to deal with a whole hell of a lot more zombies than you're used to. And we've reworked the pathing and navigation of the zombies. So in Alcatraz, they'll typically spawn in certain parts of the map, jail cell, parade grounds. We've reworked that so the zombies can spawn and navigate anywhere in the map, so you're never safe from those, on top of having to deal with the other players. And then in addition to just drastically increasing the count of zombies, what we've also done is we've also introduced new AI types in Alcatraz. So you may run into a young man by the name of Brutus. You may run into a pack of dogs that typically go by the name Hellhounds, right? AKA Hellhounds. So yeah, I mean, it's just madness. You get in here, it's 40 players, a hell of a lot of zombies, and you're fighting all of them. So a little detail to mention is typically in Alcatraz portal hordes, well, not typically, the way it works is you have to kill a certain amount of zombies to unlock the magic box, right? With this, you're going to have to take down Brutus, the warden. So we've changed how the magic box works for this game mode, and there are a few little surprises here and there. But the main gist of that game mode, and it's why I love it so much, is it's Alcatraz portal's craziness kicked up to 11 with tons of zombies.
Kind of recapping, it's like between the sort of heavy and light fog versions, all the map changes that the team is bringing to Blackout in general, Alcatraz Portal's Horde, and then you've got Pandemic out there on the horizon, coming down the pipeline. Sounds like the team's been super busy getting this done.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We're always super busy working on whether it's the next operation, the new game mode, the new weapon. It's always fun. We always enjoy it. But this one has really, brought everybody together. And like I said, we've really embraced that Treyarch zombie heritage. And I'm super proud, and I know the team's super proud of what we're gonna share with the fans.
Awesome. Matt, thanks for swinging by. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Also today, we are joined in studio by a very special guest. Someone with a very long relationship with Black Ops, as well as Treyarch, and also happens to be lead singer for one of the biggest metal acts of all time. Joining us today is none other than M Shadow's lead singer of Avenged Sevenfold and our director of audio, Mr. Brian Toohey. Gentlemen, welcome to the stream.
Thank you.
So let's start in with your relationship with Call of Duty and Treyarch. Like, we've been working with you for a long time. Like, tell us about your involvement with all things Black Ops.
Yeah, my relationship came from just being a huge fan of the game, and we were playing on the road. We were playing, in life in general.
Yeah.
And then an A&R guy of ours, Mr. Craig Aronson, who passed away, but he knew Mark Lamia really well, and so he said, "You got to meet Mark. He, is Mr. Call of Duty." So I met Mark, and we just hit it off, and we've been friends ever since.
Awesome.
And then my obsession with Call of Duty grew by just hounding him about questions about Call of Duty and this and that, and somehow I weaseled my way in and we got involved.
Well, talk a little bit about that working relationship. What's it been like working with Matt all these years?
It's been awesome. It started off really innocently because Mark Lamia just said, "Hey, do you know who Avenged Sevenfold is?" And I knew who they were. I knew who you were, I guess, but I hadn't listened to a lot of their music, So he gave me a CD and I listened to it, and we had a celebrity map about to come out, which was Call of the Dead, and I thought, celebrity map, celebrity band, this all kind of works. So I told Mark, yeah, let's give this a shot.
Well, I mean, this relationship, it track it all the way back to Black Ops 1. Matt, you guys did a track, Not Ready to Die. There was Jade Helm on Black Ops 3, Matt Hatter for Black Ops 4. Tell us about some of these creative endeavors. Tell us about the inspiration and sort of what drew you to some of these songs.
Well, for us, we'd never done a collaboration or anything for anyone because we just were really precious with our music. We didn't want to put it in too many things, and we just felt kind of just wasn't our vibe. But with something like Call of Duty, we were huge fans of it. We were playing it all the time. It really helped me through a hard time when we lost our best friend and drummer, the Rev, I was playing a lot of games, and I met a whole network of people through the game. So it was more of an emotional soft spot for me and for the guys. And so with something like Call of the Dead, we got the call, and we were just excited to actually make a new track instead of giving you guys something that we had already, put out. We wanted to do something fresh. So got together with this guy, and we had some meetings and wanted to hear the storyline, what was going on, and we just incorporated everything that we could into that Zombies experience.
That's a very modest overview of how that process worked. Because
Yeah.
I was talking to Brian the other day, and he was talking about just how involved you got with it. Because for a band that's pretty precious about your music, like it sounds like you dove right into the process. What was that creative process like between you guys?
Well, I mean, the very first meeting we came in, I didn't really know what to expect because, different artists work in different ways. And, he came in and was like, I'm a huge fan. I play all the time. We were looking at an alpha version of Call of the Dead, let him play through it a little bit. And he just kept coming back to the story. What's the story? What's the story? And at the time I was doing a lot of the story stuff. And so, and as most people know, we were really vibing with the community a lot. So while we had a spine of the story, there were so many loose ends and everything to keep track of. And I'm like, this would be easier for you to just read. So he said, give me the docs. And I'm like, okay.
3 terabytes later.
Yeah, I mean, I gave him like an enormous amount of material. And I don't know, it might have been like a week or 2 weeks. And, and you came back and said, I'm going to do this from Richtofen's perspective. And that was that.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, that's so cool if these guys want to dive in and sort of help us tell the story using one of their own pieces of music. It's great.
Well, now it seems as if you are the story, because while Operation 5 Apocalypse Z is out tomorrow, the M Shadows character will be making an appearance in Blackout in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So
career highlight.
From an existential point of view, like what's that like?
It's amazing. It's a dream come true. I mean, I think. I mean, I can't wait to see what kind of videos people make of my character and
You're
doing
riding
funny
around in a
stuff.
sidecar with Danny Trejo.
Well, yeah, the trailer looks amazing. But I'm really excited to see what people do with this. I mean, I've seen a lot of, I frequent Reddit a lot. I see a lot of, people saying they wanted the Avenged Sevenfold characters, especially after you guys made a video for us and at the end of, for Carry On. And people were like, just put the characters in there. And so now they get their wish. Our fans are going to have a good time with it. And I'm expecting a lot of, shenanigans with my character for sure.
When has the internet ever engaged in shenanigans? Really?
Yeah, this will be the first time, right?
Well, we've got M Shadows coming to Blackout in the next couple of weeks. I mean, stay tuned to all channels, Treyarch and Avenged Sevenfold for that. We'll keep people posted. But kind of zooming back out to kind of your life as a gamer, your lifestyle as a gamer. Rumor on the street is like you've got a pretty respectable KD. So
it's pretty respectable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, tell us what's going on in your world of gaming.
In my world of gaming, I've got pretty much a full LAN setup at my house because I have 2 kids and everyone has to play at the same time or, it's going to be problems. So I've got like about 6 screens set up, I've got everything. I mean, and we just play games. I got to limit them. Dad plays at night and then they get upset now that I get to play at night. They're like, why don't we get to play at night? Like, because you're 7 and you're 5. But it's funny, I'll play games all night with my buddies, play with Vaughn all night, give him a chirp in his ear,
Nice.
It's great. So if anyone wants stuff done in Call of Duty, you hit me up and I'll bug the crap out of Vaughn.
Note to self.
Yeah.
Very cool. But you're a big fan of the competitive scene as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I was like the first generation where you were still a nerd if you played video games, but it was the first generation that we stuck with it. I'm 37 years old, and all my friends game, and now it's become a cool thing. Yeah. But when I was growing up, it was like, you're not going to be able to make a living at that. You can't do any of this stuff with it. Why are you doing it? You're wasting your time. And we just kept playing. And now, now it's becoming a cool thing where I like to watch it. I like to watch the competitive teams. I like to watch FaZe. I like to watch 100 Thieves. I like watching the competitions, and I think it's great. It's awesome.
Outstanding. So, I mean, I guess what, you wanted to work with us and sort of get involved. Now you're in the game. Like, what is next in the world of Black Ops, Call of Duty wishes? Like, what could possibly be next?
Oh, we need an Avenged Sevenfold level.
There you
we need an Avenged Sevenfold multiplayer map. Like, it's like a stage and you're running. I mean, who knows?
Have you let Vaughn know?
Oh, I've been bugging him about that for like 5 years.
There we go.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah. I need to meet the art department. That's what I need to do.
Next step.
Come on, guys.
We know
Yeah.
some people. We'll take a walk around.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything that you guys would like to offer in closing?
Well, I think we're going to have some music in Blackout when you drop in now. Some fun stuff at Asylum where they can unlock some songs and do some stuff. People that are in the know how to do that. And I think with the zombies theme of this, and it's darker, and how Blackout's taking a new look, I'm just really excited that my character's involved in this portion of it. I think it's going to be awesome.
Outstanding.
Very excited.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Matt, thanks for dropping by today. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And that is all for today. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's broadcast. And tomorrow, we will see you online for the launch of Operation 5 Apocalypse Z. Have a good one.